think we're live.
We are live. It's counting. 2, 3, 4, 5.
It is, yeah. We're never sure. Whenever you do this, you're never sure whether anyone's seeing you or not. So I'm having a look on my phone as well here just to see if it's working. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming along, if you do, and if you're there. It's a funny time zone. I know there's not so many of you in the UK. A lot of members in the group are in America. So this does get videoed. So you can watch it later after the event. And really, we sort of thought we'd go back to doing some lives. We started it last year and it sort of fizzled out a bit. I think life just took over. But the group... Why
are we going back to doing lives, Vanessa?
We're going back to it because we've got so many members now in the group. There's over 6,500 people now. We've also got the website, which is getting a lot of people every day now looking at the Housesitting magazine website. We've got our course, we've got our email, and we get so many messages now that it's become a bit of a conundrum really as to how we can answer the questions and actually still have a life. So we started to rethink things a little bit because we obviously want to help as many people as we can. We want to help as many people as we can in the group, but we don't have unlimited time. So we thought if we started to do a live once a month, we could cover the sorts of questions that people are asking us personally through Messenger or even through email, things that come through the website. And if we keep this post each month, then people can ask questions on there that they want maybe covered in the future. And we can just sort of see how it works. It doesn't mean I won't answer people's messages anymore, but it might just mean if it's something that gets covered over and over again, this will be a better place to do it.
Yeah, a lot of the questions are the same ones again and again, aren't they, on a sort of few regular topics. So we'll try and cover those in a bit of detail in a couple of videos so that we can refer people to them and not have to repeat our answers. For everyone who wants it, we can just say this video will answer that question for you. Yeah,
and I think the group's doing so well now. You're tending to sort of answer each other's questions, and it's lovely to see that. And I just wanted to relay a little story really, because I saw that Gail Fairlam, who joined the group back in October last year, and she started as a new sitter. And she asked the question, how do I get started? How easy is it going to be to get started house sitting? And lots of you gave her feedback and different tips and things to get her started. And she actually updated on the post last night. And she said that since then, she's done 2 house sits in Australia, another one in Spain, and she's on the 3rd in France, and next off is Italy. And that's all in sort of 5 to 6 months. So it's really nice to sort of see that sort of feedback and see that people are finding out about this lifestyle and are finding ways to make it work for them. And we just want to make sure all the time that you've got those best practices and the due diligence is being done that stops some of the problems occurring that we do see in the group as well. So that's really nice. So it's lovely to see that sort of feedback. So there's a few people there now. So if any of you have any questions, just pop them in. Oh, 7 comments. Hold on. So I don't know no. Since we last did a live, they've completely changed the software. So we're having to sort of learn it as we go through it. There we go. We've got it. Yeah. Excellent. So Gail, you're there. So it's hope you didn't mind me giving your little anecdote there. And who else have we got? Gina, Mal's there. Excellent. Vicky. Hello, Vicky and Jeff. 8 confirmed sits. Wow, that's amazing. It's just so good to hear. It does feel like this sort of lifestyle is just starting to go on that sort of exponential curve, really. More and more people. We've
been saying that for a couple of years, haven't we?
Yeah.
Since we sort of got more involved with the community rather than just doing our own house sitting, we sort of said it does feel like it's growing and almost ready to explode. I can imagine it sort of almost going like Uber or Airbnb did. When it reaches a certain critical mass, all of a sudden it'll be in the newspapers and the magazine and
more and
more. Because I think once homeowners discover it, because it seems like it's a no-brainer for homeowners, when they can have dedicated people to look after the home and pets, and it doesn't cost them anything. It seems like
as we all say, it is a win-win all the time. But of course, as it grows, that's when we will hear, I think, more and more, stories about things that maybe don't work out quite as well. And we've got to make sure people really understand that, the pets do come first. We're doing this to keep the pets in their routines, to keep the pets at home, and we're not, we are having an amazing lifestyle. We are having our time away and our holidays and this sort of really fulfilling way of living, but it does have a purpose as well. And we worry a little bit about that whole side of things where people might just start house sitting for free accommodation.
It's the responsibilities are key, aren't we? I think we say it again and again whenever we talk about house sitting, but we try to focus on that when we tell people about house sitting, that it is about the pets, it is about the responsibilities, and that by introducing people in that way, we help grow a community that is a responsible community, and that the more successful sits there are, the better the community will grow in a sustainable way. Rather than, as Vanessa says, if people just come off, people say, it's all about free travel and it's all about free accommodation. No, it's not. It's not about the free holidays and free accommodation and so on. So
that's part of it, but it's not the reason for doing it.
Exactly. I think people have to come to it for the right reasons, don't they, as sitters?
Definitely. So I think some of we've been doing a bit of a challenge this year. We've been doing 52 sits in 52 weeks in the UK. Part of that was coming back because of my dad's failing health, and we thought it would be a bit of a challenge.
We set ourselves a big challenge. 52 sits in 52 weeks.
But in fact, it's not really been a challenge at all, because what we've discovered again is that house sitting has become so popular in England. We went away 4 years ago. Well, in fact, 6 years ago. We started traveling in 2013, but we started full-time house sitting 4 years ago, just part-time before that. And since going away and coming back, we've just seen it again. It's exploded in the UK. And there were so many sits. There were so many people that have short sits and repeat sits. So people in England have a tendency to, as well as their sort of main vacation holidays, they will go away for maybe 3 or 4 short vacations as well. So just long weekends or, 4 or 5 days. And so there were multiple sits to do. And a lot of them, I think, don't get fulfilled. So in fact, we found that our 52 sits challenge we've just found it very easy to get those sits. But the reason for telling you that really is that if you are thinking of getting into house sitting, if you are just starting, it is a great way to build up your reference base. So pick a country like England, like Australia, where house sitting is very popular as well, and use that as your base to sort of get started and work your way into this, and find out if it's for you as well. I mean, that's a big part of this. It isn't for everybody. So actually doing some short sits in different environments.
Also, when you're doing that, I think if you're just starting out and you're looking for a bit of experience and some references, then it's good to aim at the sits that maybe other people aren't going to be aiming for. So you can look on the website and you can see a beautiful big mansion of a house with a swimming pool out the back and a tennis court, and think that would be fantastic. But it's going to be competitive. That one is going to get a lot of applications. But when you find a terraced house or a regular sort of semi-detached house on the edge of town, just a regular house or an apartment, then a lot of those only get 1 or 2 applications. Some of them we've done have had no other applications other than us. So unless your application is absolutely terrible, you're pretty much guaranteed to get that house sit. And it's a great way to, as Vanessa said, build up some credibility, some references, and get the experience for yourself. Go and get a couple of sits under your belt and feel what it's like to move into someone else's house and to live in their house and to cook in their kitchen.
And to see what you can cope with, I
Yeah.
guess, as well. Because, you know, we've done sits that have had one cat to, you know, 4 dogs, chickens, horses, you know, and 30 sheep. And, you know, you've got to decide what you can handle in terms of responsibility. If you're a solo sitter, you know, you might not want so many pets to care for. Some people will, you know, it's all very personal.
I think you build up as your experience builds. Like, we'd have never considered before more than 2 dogs, perhaps. But then as you get more confident with looking after more dogs and so on, then we've taken sits with 4 dogs or with bigger dogs.
Yeah.
You know, start with the small dogs if you're not confident with bigger dogs before.
Yeah. And think about what you're doing in terms of work, because, you know, we are still doing some work, obviously. So, you know, that's one of the reasons we don't take sits with too many dogs usually, because we know that we can't give them the time that we need to. So so we have to balance all that up, really. We've got to think about how much time we're spending on our work versus looking after the pets. So they're all things to consider as well. Gail's asking.
That's an interesting point. Gail says that.
So Gail's saying, are there more sits coming, and are the number of sits increasing? I feel I would definitely say that there are. And I think part of that is because there are a lot of repeat sits. So you'll find that, you know, someone started with house sitting, then they're offering more and more sits and going back to people and saying, you know, will you come to us again? So you'll find, I guess what we found is a proportion of our sits now are repeats. So that frees up some of the other sits on the website, some of the newer sits that are coming through. So there's this sort of constant turnover.
I see as well that we were using trusted house sitters for most of our 52 sits. We've used trusted house sitters, and as we sort of look after our profile and our reviews as they come in, I'm looking at how many people are on the list of sitters, and I see that growing every time I go back. You know, there's another, and this is a worldwide figure, there's maybe another 100 or 200 people on there over a few days. So both the number of sits available and the number of sitters is increasing, and I think that's a good thing. If that sort of balance is maintained, you could have 10 times as many homeowners, and that would accommodate 10 times as many sitters, you know, so long as it grows proportionately.
And I think as people, you know, more and more people are wanting to travel. Travel's more affordable for people. So so there are more retirees wanting to travel more. There are more families are traveling, and there's lots of different options now for accommodation. So you can do it in many different ways and self-guide your holidays. So I think as people travel more, as people go and live in other countries and expat communities build, that all increases the house sitting. And it just takes a bit of word of mouth. You know, I've noticed on Trusted House Sitters, you'll get like little pockets of places. And it's obviously where, you know, the homeowner has said to their neighbour or to somebody else about how this works, and that increases people's confidence and reassures them with the trust side of things. So once they start to see that, oh, it's not just a stranger coming into your home, and you know, you can look at people's references, you can do a lot more research before taking someone on. I think it builds people's confidence. So I think it
Here's something interesting. Another thing Gail mentioned here is how do we quality control when we were talking about the responsibilities and sort of trying to introduce people in the right way, and some kind of accreditation. And then Mal says here, what do you mean by quality control? So I think, Mal, what Gail is saying is that could there not be some sort of internationally recognized qualification? But the problem is, as Gail says, that's very hard to control, because who administers that, who checks the people who've done it? You know, you can you can make a video course, but how do you ever confirm people have watched it, have understood it?
Yeah, and there's so many scenarios,
Yeah,
so many skill sets, and I think it would be quite difficult to.
I think that, I mean, maybe long term in the future, when you look at, we just did a house sit for someone who was in the process of becoming an Uber driver. And Uber, I think, started, it was very sort of casual when it started, and you could simply register your car and get going. Now they go through a whole process of training and vetting and qualifications and so on. It took him 3 or 4 months, was it?
Yeah,
to go through the process to get approved as an Uber driver. But obviously Uber's big and worldwide, but they seem very keen now on accreditation before people become drivers, because it is a position of responsibility.
So I guess all we can do at the moment, or you know, as a community, is to make sure that we do follow as many best practices as possible. And
we do spread the word in a responsible way.
Yeah, I think, like, for us, we tend to use platforms, and I know not everybody does. Lots of people use Facebook groups and other ways of getting sits, and everybody's got their own way of doing it. But for us, we feel more comfortable knowing that we are using at least a site where you know, you can check on people's reviews. You know,
the reviews are two-way as well. Someone mentioned
exactly.
The two-way reviews.
So we can look at homeowner reviews. We can also look back at house sitters and what they've said about that sit, but look at what the homeowners from other sits have said about them. So you sort of get this picture build up, and I think there's a lot that you can do to make sure that the sit goes well. I mean, for instance, when we pick a sit, we only pick sits that have got lots of photos. Now, some people will say, that doesn't matter. But for us, we're house sitting full time. You know, especially with the number of sits we've done this year, we don't have the time to go backwards and forwards to people in a Facebook group, asking questions, dragging the information out of them. You know, it's all there. We want to see that there on a profile. And we can determine a lot from photos now. I feel like I'm very good at looking. You know, I look at the carpet. I look at the cleanliness of the carpet in the corner of the picture. No, but it gives you a clue. These are things that give you a clue. You know, if cleanliness is your thing, and cleanliness is so subjective. That's why I always find this one a difficult one when people bring it up in the group, because, you know, one person's cleanliness is totally different to somebody else's. So, you know, I look for little clues in pictures. I look for things, you know, I like a nice long description of what the duties are and that sort of thing. We do Skype chats, we do phone calls, we communicate all the time. You know, we always find it a bit of a red flag if we can't get the homeowner to communicate with us. It's, you know, it's like, this is a two-way thing, and we've both got to be happy about the situation. So, you know, there's lots that you can do, and, you know, we can't go through all that now here, obviously, but there was lots of information about that in the group. And, you know, the magazine has so many articles now on different parts of house sitting, so that's why we try and sometimes put those articles up so you can get some extra information.
Comment here, Gail says the magazine and the Facebook group is a good way.
Yeah,
good practice. Tell people about the magazine.
Yeah, and also you know, this is partly why we sort of wanted to get involved with the conference this year, the first house sitting conference in the UK, with Tim and Lou at House Sitting World, because we want to actually promote those best practices. We want to get people together so that they're talking about this. It's all very well doing it like this, but having people in one place, you know, where we can sit down and chat, we can I don't know, you know, network at an evening meal, and we can really sort of start to see how this is going to form for the future in the best way.
And the representation from a couple of the platforms going to be at the conference, so you know, it'll be good to have their input on what they see as the future of
house sitting,
the business, the
industry,
the community.
And seeing platforms talking together, that's going to be interesting as well. So rather than it all being sort of a bit you know, fragmented, it'll be nice to see that come together. And of course, then, you know, the other reason for that is to promote it to people that are interested in joining the industry, that they get to see you know, and learn from the people that are talking there. So you will see some adverts coming up in the group now. We've got all of our speakers in place, so we're just trying to sort of let people know who's going to be there, what sort of talks will be happening, what sort of information will be there. So you will see those popping up now and again.
I'm at work at the moment on the schedule, getting the speakers positioned to sort of almost, I'm trying to do it so we almost tell a story going through an introduction to house sitting, to introduce people to it, right through how to get started, what to do, and that there's going to be several education sessions and then all sorts of inspirational stuff and videos. And I think it's going to be a great, inspiring 2 days. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Yeah,
so if anyone's there, if you're in the UK, you should come along. I think it's going to be great. Mal's saying here, then Mal, of course, is a homeowner as well as a sitter. So this is his feedback is always appreciated. But he's saying the same thing. You know, you can go through reviews, feedbacks, background checks, transparency. I mean, look at people, see if you know, if they're online, if they're on Facebook. We're totally transparent. So, you know, a homeowner has to really sort of be happy with the way that we live, and I don't think it's too strange, but but you know, we are out there because of our presence online. So
I just like that, as Mel states it there, you can assess a lot by a lot of small factors that give a big picture. That's very true. It is a lot of small little hints and tips and things that you see that you think, you know, either we will apply for this or we won't apply for this, or for a homeowner like Mel, we will take this sitter or we won't take this sitter.
And it is a learning process. You know, we did tons of research actually when we first started out as sitters, but you know, we've learned as we've gone along as well, because there are so many different scenarios. You can't possibly, you know, think of everything. So there's often little things that will catch you out and you think, oh, I didn't ask that, or I'm going to ask that question next time. So it is a learning process. So I think, you know, the thing is, you know, not to beat yourself up either. If your first sit, you know, a few things don't go quite right. It's like, you know, that is just the learning. It's learning the job, really. You know, so when you start a new job somewhere, you make a few mistakes, and the same thing will happen with house sitting. What's Vicky said? So Vicky said, what do we do to fill in between sits? We haven't really had many this year, but what do we do? What do we do when we have time?
We had a hashtag, didn't you? What was your hashtag?
Between sits.
and yeah, we fit in. For us, it's fairly easy here in the UK because we've got a vehicle. We bought a very small van, which we can put all our stuff in, our clothes and bits and pieces in. But we use Airbnb, we use booking.com. So either look for an Airbnb or a hotel if we're somewhere far from family. But we use it as well as an opportunity to catch up with friends or with family in different parts of the country. So if we're close to Vanessa's mum, we'll pop in there, or her brother, or my mum.
I'm just looking for a picture of that.
And then we also schedule, one of the things we've done over the past couple of years is schedule between sits adventures, where we'll take a week, 2 weeks, even a month between house sits, and say, this is for our adventure, this is our travel. So a couple of years back, we went to Cuba for a month. Last year we did
our sailing adventure.
Our sailing adventure. We had 2 weeks of learning how to sail in Thailand between sits, and then we had 2 weeks of sailing in the Caribbean when we rented our own boat and went off for 2 weeks in it, using what we'd learned in Thailand, which fantastic. I always think that house sitting is just one small part in a much bigger thing, which is lifestyle. And house sitting allows us to live this lifestyle where for me, I'd like to be doing the adventures every month. But house sitting is part of the whole lifestyle that allows us to live this way, and not have to turn up at work at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning.
And we do get little sort of missions like this year. We decided we'll join the National Trust. So as you can see, Ian loves challenges.
Yeah.
So his challenge this month was to get his whole membership back.
I'm £20 short still. We've got to fit one more National Trust. So National Trust, for those not in England, National Trust looks after historic buildings, natural areas, footpaths, coastlines,
historic buildings.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. We went to a
mill yesterday.
An old water mill. Fascinating. So the National Trust, that's the symbol for the National Trust, the little, is that an oak?
But this was interesting because they actually had a dog walker's guide. So they're very good at sort of trying to get people to act responsibly in the countryside. And because, in England, we have a lot of problems with dogs around livestock because we have so many public right of ways, but a lot of them go through farmland. So we have different problems to the US and Canada, where you've got bears and other animals and things. But in the UK, we have to deal with livestock.
There's another place we visited. So this costs £120 a year, but you can pay £10 a month. £10 a month to the National Trust, and so we joined at the very end of March, and coming up to the end of April. My little personal challenge was I want to get my £120 worth in the first month for the tenner that we've spent.
Yeah.
And I'm £20 short. So we've already had £100 worth of entries and car parking. So.
And it's just interesting as well. We're getting some fascinating history.
Yeah, we're going to places that we wouldn't necessarily pick to go,
Yeah.
and you find out a lot of stuff that you'd never find out otherwise.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Gal's saying here about workaways as well. Yeah, so that's the other thing. There's so many options now to do workaways, volunteering. We went to meet up with Glenn and Jacqueline Lamb today. We haven't seen them for 2 years. So we had a Mapper Hub meetup today, and I was talking to Jacqueline because she does volunteering in Chiang Mai with one of the rescue centres. So people do things like that as well, and that's great. Great. Like a reference type thing that you can put on your profile as well. I think that's something I'd really like to do in the future, but we just haven't had the time as well at the moment. But
again, that comes back to your own personal lifestyle choice. We are simply speaking from our experience and what we enjoy doing. We don't suggest you've got to go to Cuba or learn how to sail or join the National Trust. It's just that. And we're going to cover this out. I want to talk a lot more about this at the conference, that house sitting is something that just facilitates whatever lifestyle it is you want to create. House sitting can be part of that. That's not a chicken.
We've got 3 chickens here and they keep coming in the house.
Are we going to show them?
Well, this is actually the back of our van. I don't know if you can see it there, but you can see a chicken's hopped up there. But this is the van we go around in now. It's just a small van, so you can see we've got our bikes, we've got our boxes. There's quite a bit of space in there. We've taken the boxes out, some of the boxes out. But yeah,
but the chickens will, anywhere you go, the chickens want to be there with you to see what's going on. They're so funny, aren't they?
They are.
And the eggs are the best eggs as well.
So Melon is saying, I joined THS last year and have had a great time on 2 international sits, 2 local sits, getting a new puppy this weekend. So I'm not sure I can keep house sitting, bringing him. Oh, so this is you're actually getting a puppy. Oh, that's lovely.
That's on.
Yeah, do you know that's one of the most frequently asked questions. Yeah, if I've got my own pet, can I house sit? Now, there are some people that do it very successfully. Michelle McDine's in the group. She's been house sitting with Eddie, her dog, for quite a long time now. Yeah, he is now. I think a new puppy might be a bit difficult, but yeah, there are people that it just, we did a house sit in Spain, and Steve's actually in the group, I think. Oh, the phone's ringing. Yeah, I'll have to let the answer. Steve was saying that they're quite happy having pets over because they're constantly having friends over who have got their own pets and their own dogs, so they're used to mixing, so they don't mind having someone come and stay who's actually got a dog. So I think it does restrict things a little bit. You know, and I guess you are going to have to apply for more sits than if you don't have your own pets, but it's not restrictive. You know, it's the same as families. You know, families can house sit. There's sits for everybody, really. I always think that, you know, there's a sit for everyone out there. But of course, you could use a house sitter too. That's the other way of doing it.
Yeah, that's the other way, isn't it? Yeah, you get a house sitter in to look after your pet. Well, there's quite a few people do that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Get a house sitter in, and then
well,
they go
Mal.
on their own. There you go. I'm on a house sitter.
Okay, so Gail, I'm interested, Gail, then what do you do? Are you retired? Are you working? So the not having to go to work part. Well, I'd quite like that.
That's my favourite part of it.
Angela, hello, Angela. So what's Angela? I'm just trying to, you keep talking and I'll read.
Well, this sort of, you wanted to talk about vans, didn't you? But I'll sort of introduce it, following up on what someone said. Well, what do you do between sits? We know a few people who have campervans or RVs in America, or smaller campervans than that. And also we know people in the UK who do that. So we've been doing a bit of research. So we've been to a caravan and camper place. So we've started with the dream part there. So we picked up a few brochures, and this one is Peugeot campers, van conversions, very, very nice vehicles. And we sort of said, yeah, that would be the one. If we pick this one, I think it's the couple's choice. And look at the design inside, looks great. 50,000, was it 50? 56,000 pounds back to the drawing board. So what we're thinking we might do is buy ourselves a van, just an empty van with the empty shell on the back, and do our own conversion. It won't be quite as grand as the ones from the camper supplier.
And I think it might end up in a few arguments. I just can imagine our slight differences here in.
I won't be arguing. I'll just be getting on with it. And that's a great way to spend, to split your time between traveling and doing your own sightseeing and travel, and then stopping at a house sit, doing a house sit for a couple of weeks, and then hitting the road. So you don't have to get the house sits back to back. You can say, well, it doesn't matter if we have 3 days or 5 days before the next sit starts, and we can take our time and stop off on the way. Yeah,
I think it sort of evolves. That's what we've found. You'll have one, a year like we're doing now, where we're doing back-to-back sits. Then, next year we might take a bit more time off. And we even thought about how we could convert the van, because we're going to have to find maybe a homeowner who doesn't mind us having the van in the drive, where we can do a bit of work. So that gives us another challenge.
So we're looking for a house sit with a big workshop,
a big drive.
Yeah, a big drive.
But knowing us, we'll probably change our minds again, because I think this year we've changed our minds 3 times already as to what we're going to be doing next year.
Yeah. You asked me the other day, so is that it?
Is that it? Yeah.
We've decided. I'm like, well, let's just wait and see, shall we? We'll give it a week, because you'll have come up with a new idea.
But isn't that the lovely thing about this lifestyle? I think that if you enjoy change, I mean, it must be a nightmare if you don't. But there is something new, and something new to stimulate you, something new to sort of to set as a goal, and just I don't know. I just find that every day is a joy, really. Living this.
I think
this
the only
way.
frustration is there's too many choices.
Too many choices.
Not enough time, is there?
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Squeeze them all in.
People often say, what are you going to do? How much longer are you going to do this for? And we just don't see an end to it, really, at the moment. And Angela's our inspiration there, because she's been doing it forever. So.
And you don't plan that far ahead, because the plans never work out the way that you expect them or you think they might.
No.
Freewheeling it.
So we did have one question on the thread. That was from Carrie Biggers about monthly prescriptions and dental checkups. Now, that's a little bit hard for us to answer, because that's going to be different in different countries. And obviously in America, your medical care is so much more complicated. So somebody did actually put up some information, I think it was Beverly, which was very helpful, because we really don't don't have much that we can give as input on that. In England, obviously, you know, your monthly prescriptions, you'd be able to get those in advance through your doctor. If you tell them you're traveling, they will put them together for you. You can pick up from any doctor's surgery, I believe, as well. I had to pick up something recently and they said to me, just ring up ahead at the place that you want them and they'll send them over. Dental checks, we tend to just, wherever we are, when we need some work doing, we go and get our teeth done at the most cost-effective place, and wherever. I mean, we've had work done in China, we've had work done in Mexico now, St. Vincent. So, yeah. So in St. Vincent we had the cleaning and
filling.
You had a filling, yeah. So that we just tend to do as we're traveling around, really. So we just get advice from the homeowners or somebody local.
There's a lot of places where you can just ring up and book an appointment for tomorrow. The St. Vincent one, our homeowner said, "Oh, I go to this place," and it's someone French who'd come over there,
from Martinique,
super high quality. And she said, "Oh, I'll ring them. Yes, I've got appointments tomorrow at 2:00," and that was it. We were down the next afternoon and in and getting fillings. So, yeah. Some parts of the world it's really easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that expensive compared to what you pay in the UK.
No, I mean, that's something we have found. You know, in Mexico, we found the treatment was very good, and you know, a fraction of the price that we pay in England. So, and the other thing I think we find now is we have more time to be healthy. I mean, that might sound silly, but you know, when you're working, you know, a solid week, and you know, you're stressed and under pressure, you don't look after your health, I don't think, in the same way that we're able to now. We really think about it. We eat so much more healthily now, and because we are traveling, we look after ourselves that little bit better, I think, because we are worried about, you know, health issues. We don't want to be sick. We don't want to have injuries, because that would change our lifestyle. So we just try, and I think it makes us a bit more conscious of health.
I think as well, though, I was thinking about this morning, that the lifestyle offers a different lifestyle. What I mean is that I went out this morning for a walk. Vanessa had some stuff to do, but I went out to do a bit of exercise, and I thought, I don't have any timetable. I don't have to be back to get changed to go to work. So I took a longer walk. I took a bit of an extra detour. And then you can take the time. I've been reading a lot about diet and exercise and how the two fit together and different food types. And
Go on.
I'll go and sort them out.
There were two chickens.
So yeah, the house-sitting lifestyle gives you time to follow those interests. Bring one across. So yeah, you can sort of follow up those interests and create your lifestyle as you go, or improve your lifestyle as you go along. So Tracy, you're thinking about pet sitting with a motor caravan. Yeah, I think that. Oh, hello.
We do have a chicken here. One's eating the cat food. I'm just going to sort these out.
They're the friendliest chickens ever, aren't they? Oh, it's off. Yeah. So what? Yeah, walking. Someone else there walking heaps. Gail again. Yeah. And Tracy too. Yeah. So you really, I think you do live a fitter, healthier lifestyle if you take time to think about it and use the extra time that sort of house sitting can give you to. Another thing that we got is for UK, if you're house sitting in the UK, an app we got on the phone is called OS Maps. I can never find anything on Vanessa's phone. OS Maps, which is that one there, the red one, and it's the hiking and cycling maps for the whole of the UK, and it has every footpath, every bridle way on there for all of the maps all over the UK, and it works with the GPS on the phone, so you can just set off and pick a circular route of 3 miles or something, and away you go. It's fantastic.
So Aletti, you're saying that you've got a good sit here through the site. Brilliant. Are there many last minute sits in the UK? That's what you must have missed us at the beginning. We were saying there are no end of last minute sits in the UK. There are lots and lots of sits on Trusted House Sitters, on the other UK sites. You'll find that there are shorter sits, last minute sits.
I think that's because from the UK, a lot of people go away for long weekends. You know, we'll finish work, maybe take an extra day off and finish work Thursday night and go away Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back Monday morning and back to work. And from the UK, you can either take a short trip within the UK. It's very easy to fly for £20 or £30 over to the continent and have a long weekend or a quick week's holiday. And there's so many last minute breaks get offered that a lot of people like to be very flexible, and 2 weeks before you can go and book a bargain holiday, and then I need a house sitter, and I've got a week or 2 weeks to find one. So there's lots of those last.
And of course, you've got lots of budget airlines here. So you've got people like EasyJet, you've got Ryanair, Jet2, even BA. I think British Airways do some cheap flights now, and if you wait till sort of the holidays, so what we've noticed being back, because again, we've not seen these patterns for a while, being away from the UK, we've seen that at Easter, there's a sale on pretty much every site. There's a sale, obviously the Black Friday weekends now, you get lots of sales, Christmas, just after Christmas. So we tend to try and wait until those times to book our flights now when we can, because they really are sort of, I think we've booked a house sit in Spain later this year, repeat sit in Spain later this year, and I think we've got our flights for 23.
We've got the flights down for a great price, £20 or £22 or something, but the flights coming back were 40 something.
Yeah, so double the price, but 40 is still not bad to get back from
southern
Spain.
Bad, is it?
So wait for those deals as well, and hotels and things like that. We've noticed, a lot of the deals come through then. Anything else? So can everyone? Oh, can you not hear, Lee? I'm not sure why that would be. It's going to be something on your system, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like everyone else can.
Everyone else can hear. You can play this back after, so you will be able to play it back. So maybe you'll be able to work out how to get it. You won't be able to hear what I'm saying.
Just don't worry.
If we've missed anybody's questions, we will go back through and pop those on after. I did see, I think it was Gail was asking about teaching online. So that's something we did when we started out. We went to China for a year and taught. Then we did 3 years of online teaching part-time until the whole house-sitting thing took over, really.
We've got a PDF download that gives a lot of information. So if you send a message after this, you can.
Yeah, I can. I think it's in the files section as well. So in the files section in the group, there are some documents that are up there that have been up there for quite some time now. There was also a live on teaching English last year. We did quite a long session on it, so I'll see if I can find that and actually put a link to it. But yeah, we're quite happy to talk about it again, but we've sort of moved away from it a little bit. But I know there are quite a few people in the group now that maybe we can get somebody involved that can give a bit more up-to-date information.
It's a great start point for someone who's looking to create a lifestyle, because you can very quickly get yourself into a position where you can source your income no matter where you are in the world once you pin down an online teaching job. They tend to be very, very flexible. Ours was, we could book whatever hours we wanted and make ourselves available. So it's a super flexible way of earning a pretty decent income that can allow you to travel extensively when coupled with house sitting.
Yeah, and we find our expenses are so much lower now. When you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay taxes, house taxes. So in America, I think you pay a house tax, don't you? In the UK, we pay a council tax. You don't have to pay your utilities. You don't have to pay for your Wi-Fi. You know, once those things have disappeared from your expenses, you don't need to earn nearly so much. And we just do live a more frugal lifestyle. I mean, on the way to meet Glenn and Jacqueline today, I was thinking, oh, I need a few summer tops, and I was quite prepared to go to a proper shop and buy them, but you
did go to a proper shop.
I did. I went to a charity shop. So we ended up going around the charity shops first. I bought 3 tops for, you know, less than £10, really nice, you know, as new. And we do things like that now. It just feels like, you know, it makes me feel good because it's a recycling thing as well. You know, it doesn't feel so wasteful. Can I just point out, we did only go looking for a cafetiere, but bought 3 tops for Vanessa as well. A girl's got to have more clothes than a boy.
It's the same every time we go shopping.
Okay, so I think, I mean, really, as I say, today it was just a sort of a bit of a you know, let's see how this goes, have a bit of a chat, you know, for some of the new people in the group, they can see who we are. And you know, as I say, we'll keep doing this. We'll schedule one in for next month. And once people start to get more used to it, and you know, if you have got specific questions, you can put them in. And we'll try and keep it to this sort of 45 minutes, maybe.
It'd be good to have some questions in advance.
Yeah, if we know what you want.
Prep a little bit with some info about those.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got questions.
So we have just been waffling on a bit today, I know, but yeah. Hopefully it's been of use to everyone, and as I say, we'll get this. I think it takes a while to process at the end, doesn't it? But it will come up as a recorded video, and then we'll answer any questions that we've missed as well, and put some links up for you and things. So I think that's it. I can't see any more questions. Just make sure. Yeah, I think that's all good. So. Thank you very much for coming along, and
see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.